There are various plans being talked about quietly here in Washington at the moment about what happens in Iraq if the security plan doesn't work out.
The overwhelming majority of Iraqis do not want the country to be divided along sectarian lines.
Here in Washington, every monument is shaped by the nature of the war it commemorates.
What will the monument to the Iraq war look like one day? And if you can tell us that, you can tell us how the war ended.
A special BBC poll to mark 4 years since the Iraq invasion.
We've got Adam Brooks ready to give a sort of Capitol Hill analysis today.
Success in Iraq. What about some measure of stability?
Surely you jest. There is no success there except our exit.
To truly report a story, you need to understand it from every angle. BBC World, putting news first. This is BBC World, putting news first.
From bad to worse, the International Red Cross reveals a frightening picture of life in Afghanistan. Russia demands an overhaul of Europe's agreement on conventional forces. 400 years on, Belgium's Fincheniers get their heads down for another national song contest. This is The World Today from BBC News. Welcome. I'm Lucy Hockings.
And I'm Jamie Robertson. Coming up later in World Business Report, Yahoo's chairman hopes to convince angry shareholders that he can revive the company that he once called the internet's brightest star. And China's runaway trade surplus. EU Trade Chief Peter Mandelson demands more access for European goods.
Escalating conflict, increased insecurity, and a steady deterioration in medical and other services. That's the grim verdict on the situation in Afghanistan. It's going to be spelt out today by the International Committee for the Red Cross in Geneva as it marks 20 years of its continuous presence in the country. The ICRC says it's now significantly more difficult for Afghans to lead a normal life than it was 1 year ago. At The World Today from BBC News, coming up, I'll have the latest sport for you. And Britain's Prime Minister in waiting, how Europe views the next man at number 10. You're watching The World Today. These are our headlines. Life in Afghanistan is getting worse than ever, according to the Red Cross. Russia is warning it may pull out of a treaty on conventional forces in Europe unless it's thoroughly overhauled. Coming up with Jamie in World Business Report, Yahoo's chairman hopes to convince angry shareholders that he can revive the company that he once called the internet's brightest star. Republic. A quick reminder of the international news. The International Committee for the Red Cross says life in Afghanistan is getting worse, with spreading conflict, increasing insecurity and deteriorating medical services. I'll be back after the weather with a World News summary. Then Jamie, of course, has all the financial news for you and World Business Report. Stay with us.